I've only been back a few months, and I decided to go ahead and hit up a garage sale. Now, the thing about garage sales is if you see a posting and somebody's got a ton of video games, one of two things are happening. One, they're selling their entire collection in a garage sale, or two, they're a reseller. So I'm not gonna lie, I could have paid too much for a lot of the stuff that I picked up. I have no idea. I didn't do any research. The person who I was buying from, they seem to do a lot of deals locally. They tend to go to events. So I wanted to make sure that I was paying up for some of the things. Not paying up in the sense that I didn't want to try to do like a bundle deal, but paying in the sense that I wasn't trying to get too much off the top. And I was trying to spend enough money that they knew that if they saw me again, that I was somebody who was a serious buyer. So I'm curious what you guys think about buying from resellers. Do you guys think it's a bad idea? Do you think it's feeding into, the practices that are resellers? Do people like Phoenix Resell? I think that's like a big hot topic. What do you think of people like him making his entire career basically based off of taking games at cheap values, going into conventions super early and swiping up a bunch of killer deals and then just selling it on Amazon? Now, I can't really speak on behalf of these guys that I met. I don't know them. I don't know what their deal is, but there were two guys, and it seems like that's kind of their thing, is they like to sell games. And they had bundle deals where they had sticker prices where it was like 2 green is like, they're like $10 each, or they're like 15, and they're trying to swing some deals, and they were pretty flexible about some of the stuff they were selling. So I want to go through some of the things that I picked up and what I paid for everything in its entirety, because I think being transparent about what you're buying games for is really important, because if everyone's snatching up all these deals for like what they feel like is a really good deal, it might be misleading people into thinking that they're buying these games for a penny on the dollar when they actually might be paying up for it. And that might make game hunting for some people a little bit more difficult, because they might be going out thinking that they can do these big bundles and knock off like $100 when in fact the person they were watching ended up paying like $300. You never know. And so I think being transparent about prices is really important. So I don't remember what I paid for like exactly for everything, but I do know the total. So the first one is Adventure Island on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I picked this one up because Jen from Retro Rivals talks about how insanely difficult the game is.
Adventure Island, guys.
Jen loves this game.
It's my favorite.
And it seems like a game that you probably don't want to emulate. Probably want to play it on original hardware, because it sounds like timing is extremely important. This one is thanks to Gaming Off the Grid, The Punisher. They play this one on live stream. It looks insanely good. It's an Xbox title, of course, so it's going to be a little bit older. But from what I remember, you can basically end up threatening people, like hanging them over ledges to try to get information out of them. Of course, it's The Punisher, and it's before, people decided that, guns were bad, so it's pretty violent if I remember correctly, so I'm really excited to have picked this one up. They had 30 listed on this, but I bundled everything together, so I'll have to do like a price charting thing at the end and see if I even got a good deal or if I just got completely ripped off. I really don't know, guys. I have the first one, so I figured why not pick up the second one, Overlord 2. I'm still collecting for the Xbox 360 when I see them. I'm not being as aggressive as I was because of the whole Xbox 360 hype. If anything, probably the prices have dropped a little bit since the store is closed and everyone stopped freaking out about the FOMO thing. But Overlord seems like a really funny, charming game, the first one, and so I'm excited to pick up the second. Next on my list is Red Steel for the Wii. I've heard about this off and on, so I was excited to pick that up. I honestly don't know a lot about it, but it looks like a fun, weapon game. You get to use the Wii remote, which is not really my favorite thing. That's why I don't really play the Wii that much. But I remember hearing about Red Steel, and so I'm excited to give that one a go. So this one was my bad. I thought I didn't own it. I own it loose. Altered Beast. I don't know why I didn't think I had this. I do try to keep my games in an app so I can keep track of things. I'm usually pretty good about remembering what I have, but now I have Altered Beast, but in the box. So I guess what I could do is I could use my loose cart for trade bait when I go to the Portland Retro Gaming Show. Part of his deals was if you got 2 of a color, then it was $5 off, I think. And so I ended up needing to find another yellow tag. And so I got Fairy Tale Fights. I've literally never heard of this game, another Xbox 360 title. It says blood, crazy, violence. Fairy Tale Fights is a bloodthirsty hack-and-slash platform adventure, which, again, if you watch anything I ever put out, I love hack-and-slash and violence and platforming, so maybe this will be one of the hidden gems, or maybe it's a game that's completely popular and I've just never heard of it. that happens. So I own the first one on PS3, I own the last one on Xbox One, and I hate buying franchises on different systems. I don't mind having a game on a particular system, but once I have a game that's part of like a trilogy, or like there's 2 of them, I like to keep them on the same console because I once I'm used to the controls, I try not to bounce around. But Rise of the Tomb Raider for the Xbox 360, now this will be closer to the Xbox One, but I had the first and the third, but not the second, so I need to play through this. I just watched Jen and Scott's most recent video where he had mentioned Tomb Raider. They got a trilogy pack, and I remembered that I didn't own the second one, and when I went to the garage sale, here it was. Something about me is I like light gun games. I don't own a lot of them. Unfortunately, that TV right there doesn't play nice with them because it's still a little bit too new, but I do have a tube TV, so I can play it. But I ended up getting Lethal Enforcers with the Justifier together. They were asking $50. I think I ended up getting like $10 knocked off of this one, but I was really excited to get another light gun type thing because once I kind of discovered that you could do that on the Wii, which I know is kind of a no-duh thing, I was really excited to find titles for that, and I still need to play like Ghost Squad, Resident Evil 4. It might be the way that I can tolerate playing a scary zombie game if I can control with a light gun. You know, obviously I did a video on House of the Dead Overkill, so that's a good one too. But light guns and games are super fun, and for the Sega Genesis, I thought that that was a pretty cool pickup. I think this comes in like a big box, but I was fine with it being loose. This was like we were like kind of on our way out. I had already like spent some money, and I decided to pick up this, I think it's from like 2016, like magazine, or not a magazine, it's like a comic book, and it's a Super Mario like comic book, and I was really stoked to get this, and I'll have to do some better B-roll on that, but it's super colorful, it's cute, it's the Mario Brothers. I really like it. I don't know if this is like a standalone or if there's like multiple volumes, but I was really excited to pick this up because he bundled this guy with the I can't believe I added this to my collection. Hold on. Alright. One of the most useless peripherals. Xbox totally shit the bed on guessing on which way they were going to go back when it was Blu-ray versus like the HD, DVD, whatever. But this has all of the paperwork. It even comes with the King Kong movie inside of it. And it is such a dumb peripheral, and I'm so excited to have it. I'm even thinking about going to some thrift stores and seeing if I can find some of those HD DVDs and picking some up and using this on my Xbox 360 just because it's so silly to think that this is an option to watch DVDs and on a platform that just did not take off. I find that completely hilarious, and I bet you the discs are still super cheap. But I thought it was really cool getting this in the box with the paperwork and the movie, and he ended up, I think he was asking like $30 on this and $10 on the comic book, and he ended up bundling the two, I think, for $30, so that was really cool. Alright, and then hopefully I didn't leave anything out, but these are the last two, and I like picking up weird stuff, even if it's not official or anything like that, but he had these two custom painted NES controllers, which I see these at game conventions a lot, and they tend to be pretty expensive. Now, the paint's chipping off a little bit, and, you know, I don't know how well of a job this person did, but I thought it was really just cool, and I ended up getting these, I think, for like $5 a piece, which with the bundle price, they basically were like free. He didn't seem very interested in them, but I think they're pretty neat. I think that having these in the collection, although a little weird and not really official, love that kind of stuff. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. I think I grabbed everything. I kind of was in a frenzy when I was buying stuff, just kind of grabbing stuff. And so for everything, it ended up being $230, I believe. I think the original total was like $210. There was two sellers, $210 for one guy, and then it was $60 for the other. So it was $50 and $200. Oh, wow. So I'm like way off. Hold on. Let me think. Hold on. Okay, I'll figure out how that goes in the edit. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that I got. I don't think I missed anything. I had to think about the math again because I couldn't remember how much I spent, but I remember now. Okay, so it was $110 for the one guy, so that was like the Punisher and the Altered Beast and all of those things. So it ended up being like $110. He knocked off 10. I gave him 100. The other guy, it was a total of 60, 50 for the Judgment and the gun, and then 10 for the Tomb Raider game, and he took 50. So, 150 so far. Then we were about to leave, and I saw the Xbox 360 peripheral and the little magazine thing, and that was 30. Okay, so 100 plus 50 plus 30. So it wasn't that bad, right? So I'm gonna end up doing a little research on price charting, and let's see how I did. But I ended up buying from a dirty reseller. What do you think of resellers? Do you buy from them? Do you think that early game convention entry, like I mentioned earlier, is just dumb? I'm personally not the biggest fan of it. I've gone to one game convention so far, and it really sucks because, like, obviously everyone has a right to do whatever they want, and reselling is whatever. I mean, it's so popularized on YouTube these days that it's kind of its own thing, but it does kind of leave a mildly bad taste in my mouth when somebody's going in. I'm going to a game convention to try to find good deals myself, but when somebody goes in and they basically buy like an entire table at a ridiculously discounted price because they're popular on YouTube and then turn around and sell it, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I would imagine if you buy something from someone like Gaming Off the Grid. Now, I met them in person. We've talked over the few years. I've never purchased anything from them, but I would imagine that when they buy stuff at the prices they buy them for, although they are flipping them, they are doing it to add more stuff to their collection, I would imagine that they give you a pretty solid deal. So I guess it just really depends on who you are, what you're doing it for, but ultimately it's a free country, do whatever you want. I wouldn't look at anyone any differently as a person if they were a reseller, but I think it is an interesting topic. I don't typically go to garage sales of people who are resellers because the prices are going to typically be something I don't want to pay. I usually like getting a good deal myself, and building a game collection is always secondary to real adult life. So I can't always be dumping that kind of money into a game collection, but, you know, I had a little bit of extra funds today, and I decided that these were some really cool pickups of games that I legitimately wanted to add into my collection. So thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget, a pixelated world awaits. I have a stroke. Jesus.